할로! 제가 원래는 이 주제로 이야기를 하려고 한 게 아닌데 새벽에 이 댓글을 보고 오늘 영상 주제를 급하게 바꾸게 됐습니다. 바로 이 댓글인데요. Usually I'm not really affected by hate comments or comments that criticize me for whatever reasons, but for some reason this comment stuck to my mind and it's been bothering me for all day long ever since this morning. And I was pondering over why this particular comment has been bothering me. And it is because I came to a realization that we are living in a society where women are viewed as sex objects, meaning we are living in a culture that constantly tells us to view our bodies as objects of other people's desires, mostly men. And there is a term called sex objectification, and this is a term that's been brought up in the US quite more frequently than in Korea, and it's there is actually a very good TED Talk on this topic, so I will put a link up right here or right there. So I highly recommend that you check that out. This is a really serious topic and can be very sensitive, so I'm gonna try my best to just share what I think is very necessary for making the world a better place to live in for all of us. Now, as a person who is in the media industry, I am also exposed to many advertisements and content that are toxic. And I think the problem with this comment that I'm having is virtually the problem that I see about our current culture. This whole phenomenon of sex objectification and how it's prevalent in Korean culture as well. Now, with the increased media exposure, we spend almost every day with our smartphone, right? We go everywhere with our smartphone. Even when we go to the bathroom, we bring our phones with us. And the number of advertisements that we are exposed to, now it's about 5,000 advertisements a day compared to like 10 years ago when we were exposed to about 500 ads a day. So that means that without noticing, we are exposed to a lot of cultural ideas that we don't even notice that it's a problem. And the biggest problem with our culture is that it became okay for girls and women to be sexually objectified. Why is it so that women are told to be quote-unquote sexy and wear more revealing clothes or work on their curvy bodies or to make your body incredibly fit like supermodels or the idol stars that you see on TV? That is not normal.
We all know that. But what's really sad about our rich capitalist environment society is that abnormal values become normal and okay to carry if it legally brings you fame or money. That's really sad. And that's something that needs to be changed in our culture.
Now, I don't want my children to grow up in a society where they have to think that their bodies need to be a certain type or they need to feel constantly pressure to view themselves as something that
is desirable.
Now, the biggest problem is that our culture now tells us that women's bodies have values and it became objects. And that's a really dangerous thought. Because of such a cultural idea, women are pressured to look certain ways. Sometimes it leads to a severe side effects like habitual self-monitoring, depression, or self-hatred, eating disorder. And this is a big problem. I mean, out in the world, there are thousands and millions of problems that we need to solve, like hunger, poverty, sexual violence. And I believe that each and every one of us is the creator of the world that we want to live in. And sometimes when you create, you also have to demolish what you have created in order to make it better. And I want to raise a question. What kind of world that you live in? Do you want to live in this world that women are sexually objectified? I could satisfy that standard of the world and look quote-unquote sexy. But my standard of being sexy or looking sexy is different. Just like the video that I have created like long time ago, my definition of sexiness, it is to break limits of oneself and keep unlearning to become a better human being. More of a loving, sharing, and a creative person. Just like the slogan of Seimifo, create, share, and love. And I believe that represents the class of beauty. I don't need to look cheap. I don't need to ask for people's attention or people's love. And even a love cannot be bought or sold. Love needs to come out of your heart. And there are different levels of love. The most mature love is agape, just like what Jesus did for us. And you know what? The world that we live in could be a much, much better place if we can change the culture that we live in. And that's why I believe media is so important and YouTube is so important. And I don't want to give up on my YouTube, even though I put so much effort and time onto this, when I don't even this doesn't give me any money or financial gain, but I know that this platform that can be used to create a culture that we need for this time of the era. And this media can be very, very powerful, and social media should really function that way, because social media has become that full world of bogus where you need to look this way, everybody is so perfect, everybody lives in such a beautiful home, everything is perfect, they've got everything, they've got a beautiful boyfriend, a girlfriend, and everybody has got, such a great job, money, or etc. It's just pure showing. But we can really use social media in a really wise and effective way if we're willing to change the kind of culture that we're living in. So what kind of culture do you want to make? I want to create a culture that we can promote love, sharing, creating, and sharing the joy of love, sharing the wisdom that we have learned. And there are so many different ways to contribute something good to our society. And we can support each other, we can grow with each other. It's good for everybody. And that's going to make a happier world for us to live in. Not the kind of world that you feel like you're miserable all day long because of the wrong standards, of the wrong values that our society tells us. So that's the message that I wanted to share with you guys today. And I believe you guys could also see what I have to say about my definition of sexiness for the video linked right up there. So ladies and gents, be sexy, have your own definition of sexiness, and I think that you are the most sexy when you work so hard at what you are so passionate about, what you do, and you work hard and sweat. That's what I want to call being really sexy. That the real sexiness comes from your thoughts, from your words.